from Labor Union TV. How are you this evening? We're talking about a lot of reasons the labor union movement will support Senator Bernie Sanders in 2020. And also, we'll support all the candidates that are running as congressmen and senators in the 2018 midterm. There are about 16 reasons for which we think this group of labor union family members will vote for Bernie Sanders. There's 16 reasons. I'm going to give you 8 of them tonight and 8 of them next week. 16 reasons why 50 million American workers and their families will vote for Bernie Sanders in 2020. Okay, the first reason is Bernie's the only politician with a 100% rating from the AFL-CIO. Nobody has a rating like that. Bernie has supported every labor union bill that come before Congress since he joined Congress. Bernie is a labor union senator. Okay. Number 2, Bernie has supported Card Check, the Employee Free Choice Act. That's the act where you can start a union with 50% of the workers signing union cards. And he's also been a fighter against the right to work for less, which the Koch brothers and the Republicans have set up across the country. 28 states now have right to work laws. We got to get rid of those. That's part of the ALEC and all the other criminal enterprises that are changing America to the worse. Right to work. He's been a fighter against right to work for less for 20 years. Number 3, Bernie accepts no Wall Street bribes, and he accepts no corporate cash or PAC donations. Remember, Bernie was the guy that got 9 million individual small donors giving an average of $27. That's 250 million or whatever. It's a lot of money. So Bernie is going to do that again, I hope, in 2020. That is a way to get rid of the corporate lobbyist puppet strings of cash. Okay, number 4, Bernie supports Medicare for all. 18,000 Americans die from lack of health care. 640,000 Americans declare bankruptcy every year because of their health operations, health surgery, whatever. They go bankrupt. Now, in Europe, nobody goes bankrupt. Canada, nobody goes bankrupt for health reasons. It's because we don't have Medicare.
Today, we say the function of a rational healthcare system is to provide quality care to all in a cost-effective way, and not to continue a system which allows insurance companies and drug companies to make hundreds of billions of dollars in profits each year, and to make healthcare industry CEOs extremely wealthy. The strengths of a Medicare for All program are not only its universality and its cost-effectiveness. It also ends the complexity of a system which adds enormous stress at a time when people need it the least. And today, we tell the drug companies that the American people are sick and tired of the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. We are no longer going to get ripped off and pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs on the Medicare for All. We're going to negotiate lower drug prices for the government and for every single American.
Number 5, Bernie has opposed Citizens United, the flood of dirty money into politics, since it started. Bernie was an early warner of the Biloxi case that was a precedent to Citizens United. So Bernie is for getting public financing of elections. That's what we need. Public financing of elections so that every congressman candidate gets the same amount of money to spend. Let's let the best person win, not the biggest bankroll. Number 6, Bernie has fought against the corporate outsourcing of plants and factories to Mexico, China, and wherever. Under Bernie, right now there's tax laws that favor corporations to leave the United States and take their plants elsewhere and lay off hundreds of thousands of American workers. There are laws giving them money to do that. We have to change that, and Bernie will change that. But, you know, Trump grabbed that stuff from Bernie, all the outsourcing stuff that he put in his campaign. Okay, number 7. Bernie was one of the first to call for the audit of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve Bank? What is that, you say? The Federal Reserve Bank was started in 1913 by the biggest banks in America to take over the printing of the money away from the Treasury of the United States. The Federal Reserve Bank is owned by the 5 biggest banks, and they own it according to how much money they have on deposit. The biggest deposit banks own the most shares in the Federal Reserve. Number 8, Bernie fought the bailout of Wall Street banks after the 2008 crash. Now, they weren't bailed out in 1929, but this time they were. And it was the Federal Reserve that guaranteed them the money this time and gave them about 15, some say more, but at least 15 trillion to cover their gambling swaps, their gambling derivatives. Derivatives and swaps are Las Vegas instruments of investment. They're not real help America business. These are gambling, high-risk poker stakes. And every 10 or 15 years they lose big time, and they expect the taxpayer to come in and bail them out. All right. That's got to end. We need a Wall Street tax, what the Nurses Union, the National Nurses United, NNU, are calling the Robin Hood tax. We need a tiny tax on the millions of trades that are made on Wall Street every day. The instant trades, where 1 billion shares are sold in a second. We need a fraction of a penny on each one of those big trades.
The nurses are here because we have fought long and hard for a Robin Hood, a small, minimal financial transaction tax to fund education, to fund health care, to fund shoring up our environment, to fund all of the things that have to do with human suffering. Because what the nurses see at the bedside is all of the despair that ultimately ends up in a hospital that is completely unnecessary. This bill, education, it's outrageous that our country, when so many other countries don't have free education. This country, the United States, and still it took today. So we are here to tell the world, really, because the Robin Hood tax is a worldwide phenomenon, that this is not just a bill, and we certainly salute you, Senator, for introducing this bill for free education and a minimal tax on Wall Street, on the obscene profits of Wall Street that could fund so much that has to do with building our infrastructure, fighting for jobs, fighting for the economy, fighting for health care, and for fighting for free education, and a myriad of other things. $300 billion with a minimal tax on Wall Street. So the nurses stand here today with 170 other endorsing groups to say that we are here to support your bill, we are here to support your movement, and we are here not just to sit back and support your movement, Senator Sanders.
For a brand new beat, for dancing in the street, dancing in the street. down in New Orleans. Don't forget the Motor City. All we need is Tax Wall Street. Tax Wall Street. There'll be money everywhere. There'll be teachers teaching and nurses healing. Tax in Wall Street. Oh, it doesn't matter if they care, just as long as we are there. So come on, every guy, every girl, everywhere around the world. We're taxing Wall Street. This is an invitation across the nation. A chance to meet our needs. This is an invitation across the nation. A chance to meet our needs.
Tax Wall Street.
It's time to tax Wall Street. It's time to tax Wall Street.
Thank you. This is Bill Floyd for Labor Union TV. 8 reasons to vote for Bernie Sanders. The Labor Union families and members are going to vote for Bernie Sanders. 50 million. Remember that number. 50 million will vote for Bernie Sanders. Thank you.